Hello all and welcome back. I'm your host Jeff, and in today's video I will be removing a second wheel from a ETA 2824 movement. Now the reason I want to do this is because my watch quits working intermittently. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 4, and every time or in every case I'm able to quickly give it some juice by tightening up the stem, and it kicks right up and seems to have no issue under low power. The issues are coming from when I have high power. So my first step of troubleshooting to figure out what was going on was to remove the automatic works. And after doing so and hand winding this every day, that started to point toward the seconds wheel there. And so I'm fairly certain that if I re-rivet the gear wheel to the arbor, or the pivot arbor I guess I'll call it, I think if I get a good solid connection there, this thing will run like a champ again. And I recently acquired a staking tool, and so it's time to do the job. And again guys, don't forget on your ETA 2824s, always pull out the crown to the third position when removing the stem. If you don't, you'll have to reset the keyless works, which is a good exercise, and one that I repeated several times. So I've seemed to have picked up a little magnetism along the way. We'll remedy that later. After removing the bridge and setting the other wheels in their proper positions, I'm able to squeeze out this second wheel. So here's my brand new shiny staking tool, and I had the perfect size to re-rivet this. And under the microscope, this is what I'm talking about. The silver arbor needs to be reseated to the brass wheel, and when I hammer onto that angled surface, it's going to tighten back up onto that arbor, and I'm hoping that with a good seat it's going to be able to hold back the power, the full power of that mainspring, which is what these automatic movements are meant to run at. They more or less have full power all the time, and so there's a lot of pressure on that particular joint. And so what I'll start by doing is reinserting it. I'm going to run the movement without the automatic works for a couple weeks. Let's see. Let's make sure we're good and consistent there. And then we'll be able to add the automatic works for testing. So as it stands now, for me every morning I pick up the watch, I have to make sure to remember to wind it up. What's nice about the automatic watches is they're constantly winding as you go. And as this used to be an automatic watch, it's easy to forget. And so after I've aligned the gear train below the plate, you can hear me tap. When it sounds nice and solid, I feel comfortable to finally put in the screws and tighten them down. So let's dust off the dial and the hands. Make sure no debris has settled. Same thing, but I'm also going to inspect this gasket, and everything looks to be in good shape there. It's not torn. And after adding the movement back to the case, it's time for the movement spacer. This will align the movement into the case and help marry those two important components together. And this is where you have to hold your breath just a little bit. Is it? Good. And now it's time to put the movement holding spring arms back in place. This keeps the movement from sloshing around inside the case. You really don't want that. And with these arms, you're able to put a little tension, keeping the movement pressed against the dial, which is pressed against the bottom edge of the case. So excited to see if this repair is going to hold. I'll let you guys know. And if it does, that means I can add the automatic works back on. But then I'll lose this view. Something to think about. But for now, I'll go ahead and put the case back on. And there we have it, ready for testing. My favorite part. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. If indeed I do decide to add the automatic works back on, I'll make another video. Thanks for checking out this one. Look for more. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.